Hey guys, it's Crowbar Zero, and for version 23 of the tower, I just wanted to go over kind of what are the current strategies that I'm using to try to optimize farming pretty much all of the currencies that we've got in the game. So I have it on the sides here so you can just reference it throughout the video. Also helps, gives me a guide to go through everything. But this is going to include, farming coin, your farming cells, and the cells are going to be used to speed up your labs. Also going to talk about a little bit of extra little how to use those that I didn't list there. And then for module shards, I'm just going to cover it really quickly. Basically, you run tournaments, and because of more frequent bosses, overall you're going to get a lot more in drops for module shards. So that's a really sweet spot if you want to level up those. But on the downside, it takes you away from farming coins and farming cells. So it's kind of a balancing act, what you want to do. Yeah. But anyway, let's jump into coin optimization. The community on Discord has called this slime for Spotlight and Inner Landmine. So right now I'm later in the run, so eventually you turn on pretty much all of your stuff. You undevo all your stats, and you're right now I'm basically not really focused on the coin, but more the cells at this point, which is more later in the run. But in the beginning of the run, you're going to devo your stats. So what I have is I will pretty much keep attack speed, damage per meter, multi-shot chance, bounce shot chance, range. Overall, for most people, I would keep that on the minimal side because they're not going to have maxed black hole size. So I would keep that as a minimum until you start, really getting some chunky ranges like 70 meters or something along those lines. You want to keep crit chance down initially. Later on in the run, when you start taking, you kind of hit that peak in your coins per minute and you start dipping down, that might be the time where you need to start putting like a point or two into crit chance. But for the vast majority of the run until you hit that point, you're going to keep crit chance as minimal as possible. But you can have your crit factor up as high as you want because it only goes off when the chance procs. So, and that will also increase your ultimate weapon damage. Rapid fire chance, so you can keep the duration, whatever it is, as high as you can have it, but you want to keep the chance minimal, or basically 0%. And you want Ren chance, not the multiplier, but the chance at 0. And the big part of this is you don't want to be killing enemies with bullets. You want enemies to be kind of either you're juggling with them with black hole, or you're just tanking them in general. And then for your defense stats, you're going to keep your landmine chance. Generally, I have thorns devoed, and that's mostly for a tournament. So for a tournament, you're running, obviously, Death Wave. You want to try to get kills, as many as possible with Death Wave, so you can build up as many hit points as possible. If you devo thorns, which I already have, you're not really devoing thorns for this coin farming, compared to just for tournaments. So that's one stat you'll probably enter your match with, and you just bloop, bring that up to max. That's fine. Knockback chance, I would keep that minimal, and then the number of orbs, I would keep that to a minimal as well. Why do I keep the orbs at a minimal? Because I don't want the orbs to be stealing kills from enemies that are in black hole and enemies that are in spotlight. So the ultimate weapons that I have turned off, I will turn off. There we go. I'll have Inner Landmine, Poison Swamp, and Smart Missiles and Chain Lightning turned off. So I put them in the order on that list for a specific reason. So once you start getting to a point where you're like, oh, hey, maybe I'm taking some hits, that's where I would usually turn on Inner Landmines. And they usually don't really take a hit from coins for quite a while after that. Inner Landmines does actually pretty significant damage. So as long as that's going, hopefully enemies will be in Black Hole, but maybe not necessarily. Um, you know, the Inner Landmine should be taking care of most of the enemies. Poison Swamp. So mid-late run when you're like, okay, I'm actually a more later run, I would say that's when you would turn that on. And that's kind of just trying to stretch out the tail end. Your Poison Swamp damage hopefully is pretty minimal to absolutely non-existent. That way, they get, assuming that you're running with Harmony Connector, which I am in my modules. That way, if they do hit you, they have a chance to miss. And since I talked about modules, I should probably jump into that. But I'm just going to finish off that thought of once you get to that point where you're like, okay, my coins are starting to take a hit. I may die here pretty soon without turning on my smart missiles and or chain lightning. At that point, that's when you would turn them on. And really, that's when that focus really turns heavily towards self farming, or at least the main chunky stages for your self farm. Anyway, since we're talking about coin and modules, I'm going to jump into that really quick. So what I do is, most of the time everyone's running with death penalty. You don't need to, but you can run with other stuff. The other one is wormhole redirectors. So you've got that regen, you've got something that's not really stealing kills or allowing bullets to steal kills. So that's a decent route to go with. Versus something like Space Displacer. This is just going to cause inner landmines to pop up. And if you have something like landmine chance, like I do on this, then even if you have inner landmine turned off, they're just going to be spawning all over the place. And that's probably going to screw up your run. So I would kind of avoid that. Now, if you're running like everything at a lot like smaller, tighter range, where the blasts aren't going to be going too far, maybe that would actually be a good choice. Just for kind of that mid-ish early stage, where yeah, that could be a good one as an alternative. But for this, it just kind of keeps me up and alive. I feel comfortable with this. Yeah. Jumping into Harmony Conductor, what I've got running here is Spotlight Angle. You will want that as high as possible. Spotlight Bonus is also really, really good, and then followed up with things like Golden Tower Bonus, Golden Tower Duration are really, really strong stats for this. I'm hoping that I will eventually be able to get 3 more copies of this so I can max this out and start rolling for the stats here, but for the time being, I don't have that. Anyway, jumping into self-farming. So as you go along in the waves, you'll start to get the chance of elites to spawn. Elites were kind of the death of infinite waves, which not too long ago I made a video about that, and that's not a thing anymore, or at least not for the time being. But later waves, you're going to have these elite units that spawn, the Rays, the Shatters, and the Vampires. The big dangers are usually divided for later players between Rays and Shatters. It's usually the Shatters that end up killing me, but the Rays are still pretty dangerous as well. So, but to offset that, we get cells that drop. And with those cells, you can optimize your labs to be able to run at a faster speed. And so we're going to jump into that. So you can see what I am researching right now. Right now I've got pretty much all of them just because I ended up accidentally stockpiling them over a period of time. I didn't want to go into times 4 because times 4 was really, really expensive. So just be aware of that. And at this stage of the game, I can usually get up to, unless I, forget to reset this. Usually it's about 4 of these I can maintain at times 3. Now for earlier players, that's definitely not going to be a thing. You're probably going to be aiming for everything at, maybe 1.5 times. And then eventually as you're, getting into deeper waves and you're going, even longer into your runs, you're going to be able to farm out a little bit more. Actually, quite a bit more. So how I do this, and you probably notice that, all of the timers are the same. So the reason I do that is very, very specific. So basically, based on the number of boosts that are going, the costs are going to increase. So let's say I had everything is expired, or no, only one is expired. So you're going to be paying a premium bonus just to reset, one of these labs to be able to basically pump out the same bonus. So try to get all of your boosts to go off at about the same time, and add your most expensive ones in first, so they're not costing as much, and then do your less expensive ones later. Anyway, so as far as actually accumulating as many cells as you possibly can, you're going to want to run on as fast speed as you can. It doesn't matter what it is, but just run it on the fastest game speed you can. And as a general rule, I would say probably about maybe halfway through your run is when you would want to remove the wave skip card. Wave acceleration is going to be super important because the faster you get through each wave, basically you're killing more elites per hour with wave acceleration. And then if you remove your wave skip card earlier in the run, overall by the end of your run, you're probably going to end up with a higher cell count. Probably the cells per minute will be like, it'll be probably comparable. And then if later in the run you remove it, that's when you're kind of giving a little bit more favoritism towards coin. Now, this isn't a hard, fast rule for every tier, for every player, but I ran a few numbers, not a ton, but a few, and that seems to be like a kind of a nice kind of simple rule to follow by. And then I already mentioned module shards. More bosses from tournaments equals more shards, and you can level up your stuff a lot faster. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of that. Oh, I should probably go over my cards really fast. So, target priority, usually just keep them closest. For cards, the critical chance and extra defense I add later on into the run. But starting out the run, I will keep the cash card on. And for most people, you're probably going to keep the cash card on like all through the run. And then I will have the wave skip. So those are 2 cards that will be swapped, and I usually just try to keep these first 2 slots as that. Anything else after that, I just kind of keep my permanent ones. So you can see all the check marks. I've got 18 out of the 19 max possible slots. I would really like to get that last one. It would give me a little bit more freedom and flexibility, it's not needed per se, but it would be nice. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys found this informative, and I will catch you later.